Bad Bunny and TPUSA. That's what I want to talk to you about. And I want to talk to you also about the NFL and what message is the NFL sending. Okay. So here's what happened last night. Last night, Bad Bunny comes on stage and he is getting the most prestigious venue of the year. There is no place that a star wants to be more than playing at the Super Bowl. When you've played at the Super Bowl, that's kind of a sign that you are a cultural icon, okay? Bad Bunny. I mean, he's won a Grammy, but so did Milli Vanilli. So he's won a Grammy, but has anybody listened to his music, really? Well, yeah, I guess. He's charted all the way up to number 85 on the Billboard charts. That's his highest position, number 85. You remember Casey Kasem, American Top 40? That's more than twice the distance from number one. This is America's top 85. Nobody knows what's number 85. That's not playing a role in the culture of America. And this is supposed to represent our culture. And for a long time, it has represented our culture as we just fall into just Babylon, I guess. So it has reflected our culture in all of the worst ways. But this one went the extra mile, I think. First of all, there was no English on American television at the biggest American sporting event for about 10 minutes. No English, not a word of English, except God bless America, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Panama. I mean, okay, that doesn't make it American. That makes it about the Western Hemisphere. But maybe that's what Roger Goodell is trying to say. We're not an American sport anymore. I mean, we know the NFL has already sold their soul to China. So, NFL is trying to get people in Europe, but that culture is over. So maybe he's just saying we're going to be the Western Hemisphere sport. Good luck with soccer, but, go ahead. So let me tell you what happened yesterday. Green Day comes on, and Green Day doesn't do what they always do. I mean, they're such rebels. I mean, unless they have a Super Bowl contract, then they're not so rebellious, I guess. Bad Bunny then comes on during halftime, and if you don't speak Spanish, which I don't, you had to go back and read the lyrics of what was being said. Now, because I don't speak Spanish, I just have to assume none of these lyrics were said on national television, because if I do speak Spanish, I would be writing the FCC if I had children in the room. But these are the lyrics that supposedly were said, and I can only read a few of them. Yes, so that your panties get wet, get horny and versatile, more slutty than Betty Boop. The one who got horny, mammy, was you. Stay killing with you. P with D, P with A, P with D with A. Yes, push it in. I mean, okay, your T's are rubbing my N's. This year I don't want sluts. I see you with a lot of jewels and they want to stay, push it in. I see you really active and they want to stay, push it in. Because you look hot, push it in completely. And then it goes to big A's and big T's and big P's and big C's. And okay, that's really that. Here's number one that Roger Goodell is saying. That's the American culture. That's family entertainment. Because remember, the Super Bowl is the one time where we all gather as families. Older, younger, we all get together. We all have chips and dip. And we all watch the game. We watch the commercials. But it's a family night. That's what the NFL thinks is appropriate. At least he wasn't wearing a dress. And I have to be completely fair here. It was good production value. It was really good. He completely transformed the look of everything. You know, I mean, it was good. It was good. But if those were the lyrics, no, I don't think that's appropriate. Then he went on to, make a comment about how the Puerto Rican culture is being appropriated, and during the hurricane, I guess America, wasn't there. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't care that much. But let me show you on the flip side what TPUSA was saying. And everybody got offended at first because Kid Rock started his set with a song that came out in 1999. It's vulgar. It talks about topless dancers, drinking, crooked cops, bastards, all of this stuff. And everybody's kind of like, wait, what is Kid Rock doing? Why? Okay. But then if you follow the story arc, what happened? There's an acoustic set with two people playing a Christian hymn, which was meant to be, this according to John Root on X, meant to be a bridge, an emotional bridge, okay? Comes back to Kid Rock with his stage name, instead introduced back to the stage as Robert Ritchie, which is his real name, okay? Then he plays a revised version of Till You Can't, which now the revised version ends with lyrics about Jesus Christ. And it talks about his sacrifice on the Christ and encourages people to follow Christ, read their Bibles, blah, blah, blah. This was a redemption story. And nowhere was it push it in, yeah, push it in. So what happened yesterday? Well, I mean, the Super Bowl is always the biggest of the year. Probably have 100 million people watching globally. Probably had 50 million people, I would imagine, watching the halftime show. Maybe as much as 100 million. But today, if you go and you look at the halftime show on YouTube, you'll see that it has 11 million views. Last night, TPUSA had about 6 million people watching it live. However, if you go to YouTube and you see the number of views today, 12 hours later, that number is now over 25 million. I want to give you some perspective. You want to talk about affecting the American culture, because you can deride TPUSA all you want. But let me just give you some perspective of what that actually means. Do you know how many people would watch any of these shows like American Idol? The average American Idol was getting about 6 million views. Remember the cultural impact that had? That was about 6 million views. They, on their biggest night of all time, they had 38 million views for the finale. Their end of the show would go about 30 million views. Notice what I said. In the last 12 hours, TPUSA's halftime show is up almost to where their final episodes of American Idol were. That was at 30, highest being 38. They're at 25 this morning. By the way, Matlock, which is, I guess, one of the biggest shows on CBS, 9.6 million views. So online, they did almost as much as, well, definitely top 5 TV shows. And in the first 12 hours, did almost exactly what American Idol was doing when it was at its peak. That is affecting the culture. Now, let me tell you about the culture that the NFL is pushing, because they sent us a few messages. What is the NFL doing? Well, let me start here. Let's just say you're invited to somebody's house, okay? And it's a really big night at their house. They do this party every single year, and they've invited you to come for years, and it's always been great. You know, you brought your friends and your family, your neighbors, and you bought whatever Tupperware he's selling, literally and figuratively, and you've helped make the house the place that everybody wants to be because you've been sharing it with your friends, right? And you don't agree on everything, but that's never been the point. The point is, for one night, everybody's welcome. Everybody just comes together and has a good time at this host's party, right? But this time, when you get there, instead of hospitality, he starts lecturing you. As soon as you get in, he starts lecturing you. Instead of warmth, he mocks the things that you and your friends hold dear. He doesn't argue. He assumes. He signals that your values are outdated, embarrassing, maybe even dangerous. You've brought your kids, but this year he's bringing strippers. And he's been going that way for a while, but now it's just completely over the top. And you look around the room, and some people are nodding, other people are quiet, but you and your friends now didn't expect to feel this in a place that you've been welcome, you know? I mean, it's been going that way for a while, but now, I mean, it's really kind of hostile. Then the host gathers everybody for the centerpiece of the night, moment he's been hyping all year, and he delivers it in a language that you don't speak at all. Now, how out of place do you feel? There's no transition. There's no bridge. There's no translation. No acknowledgement that half the room doesn't speak that language. Now locked out of the conversation. And while you're trying to figure out, is this guy, does he have different motives or is he just careless and thoughtless? He keeps going, unbothered by your confusion, unbothered by, your silence or your discomfort. At that point, you're not asking political questions anymore. You're just asking a human one, or you should be. Why did he invite me here? Is it just because I'll buy his Tupperware? Because he's insulting me and my family and my values. He's cutting me out of the biggest part of the night by doing it in a language I don't speak. Was this a shared night, or was I just invited to have my money taken from me and then be corrected? Not tolerated, not welcomed, but to pay the bill and then to make sure that I understand I don't really belong. Or was I invited to be mocked and humiliated by this elitist host who wants all of his cool friends to see him mock me like all bullies do? Is that why I'm here? I think that's the moment a lot of Americans experienced during the Super Bowl last night. And the NFL should hear something. You're not a preacher, okay? You're not a church. You're not a preacher. We didn't come to you to hear lessons. You're not a teacher either. You're not a cultural re-education program. You're the host of a stupid game where people make millions of dollars based on my attendance and my watching you. And as the host, your first duty is not to instruct the guests. It's to hold the room. It's to make space where wildly different people can sit at the same table without feeling targeted, diminished, or deliberately excluded. And when you, as the host, repeatedly signal contempt for me, my values, my friends' values, I'm not going to riot. I don't flip tables. I'll just stop coming. I'll just leave. I'll go find another room, which is what happened last night at halftime. Anything that can be replaced that you're doing will be replaced. And then you turn down the next invitation. And once that happens, the host, you can keep the house, but you lose the gathering. Unless you're a drug dealer and you know that everyone that you've invited is addicted to your product and they'll never stop and kick the habit. Or so you think. Personally, I think you're mistaken. 6 million people last night peeled away from the network. What's that do to your ratings? 5 million, 6 million peeled away from the network, went online to watch something that doesn't hate them. That speaks volumes about your theory. Eventually, you're going to figure out you're incorrect, and it's going to be devastating to you. So if you're asking what all of this means today, it's simple. The NFL declared last night that America is over as you understand it, that the dominant culture is going to be Spanish speaking. And that might be true at some point. It's not today, but that may be true at some point. But that wasn't an easy transition. That was like a hostile takeover. And the NFL was saying, we as Americans, we as the NFL, the National Football League, have decided to declare, you're outdated. This is the dominant culture. Get used to it. Wow. Oh, okay. And they did it with a guy who charted number 85. They might be a little early on this. But people did not feel included. If I speak Spanish and those were the lyrics last night, I have to tell you, I am outraged. I'm outraged. Those couldn't have been the lyrics because the network didn't bleep any of the words. Did you notice that? There wasn't a single bleep. Well, you couldn't have. So what did he change the words to? At best, if you were watching last night, you felt a little managed. You didn't feel celebrated. You felt a little spoken over. And the question that everybody at the NFL should ask, any host should ask before the house empties out is this. If I were treated this way in somebody else's house, would I come back? The only logical answer to that for the NFL is, yeah, if all of my clients are drug addicts. If I know they'll be jonesing so bad, listen to this. The only reason why a host would do this to the people he's invited into his house is because they think you're a drug addict that is addicted to their product and they can do anything to you and you won't care. You'll never leave. That's not hospitality. That's a drug dealer mentality. Because hospitality is about respect. And the Super Bowl of all nights should know the difference here. The left thinks they own the culture. They preach to us at the Grammys. They preached to us last night at the Super Bowl. I've had enough.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.